Good evening, hello and welcome. You're watching CNN News 18. This is Nation at 5 with me, Poonam Burde. There's lots lined up for you on this edition, but let's get you started with breaking news that's coming in from our neighborhood, and that's from Pakistan. Unfortunately, persecution of minorities in that country continues, especially that of the Hindu minority community there. We've seen instances like this come to the fore from the Sikh community, from the Christian community in Pakistan as well. But Hindus bearing the brunt the most as far as mistreatment, ill treatment, forced conversion is concerned in Pakistan. Sources are now telling your channel here on CNN News 18 that at least 3 separate incidents have been reported in the last 2 to 3 days from Pakistan. Hindu girls were allegedly abducted and forcibly converted to Islam. The Hindu community in Pakistan is now alleging that the administration and the police are backing the perpetrators and absolutely do not want to take any action, which is why we're seeing these kind of instances come to the fore. Not 1, not 2, but 3 instances that have come to the fore just in the recent past. Pathikrit Payne, security analyst, joining us on this broadcast. Thank you so much for speaking with us here, Pathikrit. It's unfortunate, but it's not unexpected, these kind of news coming through the fore from Pakistan, isn't it?
You're right. These are unfortunate incidents, but they happen with impunity so frequently that nowadays it doesn't even evoke any kind of surprise. It's very, very difficult to actually, talk about it because, the whole world is witness to what Pakistan has been doing for a long time. It's not something new. And it is happening in a very systematic manner with complete approval from the administration in a way that there are organizations, there are elements whose names are pretty well known who actually do these conversions, abduction and conversion, especially in provinces of Sindh. When the aggrieved father or the parents of the girl would go to the courts actually do not give any kind of justice in their favor because once somebody is converted, that person cannot be converted back to the religion of the minority. So there is an institutional effort in terms of discrimination, in terms of putting false allegations through which the minorities are deprived of their properties. The minorities are persecuted in the name of, desecration, in the name of some kind of, you can just put any kind of allegation on the minorities. You would have a mob running and, ransacking, abducting their children, converting them. And I think Pakistan will absolutely be mute to all of it. And yet, in spite of all this, the impunity with which they keep on getting loans from organizations like IMF and World Bank, the manner in which United Nations has been a mute spectator all these years, it's not something happening for the first time or second time. It has been happening for 30, 40 years. It's unfortunate, but that's the reason why the Citizenship Amendment Act was so very important, because it would have given some kind of refuge to these aggrieved minorities of Pakistan in India if they had traveled to India. But unfortunately, because of politics, it was not allowed. So I think people should introspect in India also that why the Citizenship Amendment Act and the right to give that refuge to those aggrieved minorities was so very important. That is something.
Right, and it's not just the politics, Pathikrit, as far as the CAA is concerned. That in itself is mired in bureaucracy or red tape, if I could say so, because extension after extension is what we've seen for CAA, and the notification is yet to come in. But do stay on with me. Sushant Sareen also joining us here on this broadcast. Thank you so much for speaking with us, Mr. Sareen, here on CNN News 18. Like we've been discussing, every few days these kind of instances come to the fore from Pakistan, a country that feels it has the high moral ground or has the authority to lecture other countries about treatment of their citizens, but not one peek inside their own country ever.
That's correct, Poonam, and the reality is, travesty is that this is a country which is now part of the UN HRC, where its foreign minister goes and talks about how hate speech and hatred is so bad, but right under his nose, in his home province, there are these egregious acts of religious persecution which are taking place, and it is not happening now. It's been happening for decades. These forcible conversions, the rape of Hindu girls, the kidnapping and forcing them into the flesh trade, this has been happening under their nose. This has been happening by legislators of Bilawal Bhutto Zardari's party. This has been happening with the concurrence and complicity of the police of the People's Party, the People's Party government. And yet, the rest of the world is silent. The Europeans, who are quick to do, grandstanding and pontificate and moralize, sermonize everybody else on human rights, they have kept quiet. They have continued to give GSP plus year after year after year and are extending it again. They don't see the kind of human rights violations which are taking place, the persecution of religious minorities. It's almost as though there is a kind of Islamic exceptionalism given to countries like Pakistan, that if they carry out these kind of actions, these are perfectly kosher, these are perfectly acceptable. This is what is expected of them. So no heavens will fall if, this continues. So I think...
And the onus also is on the international community, isn't it, for failing to put that kind of pressure that should be put on Pakistan, where that happened as far as the FATF and terror financing went, but somehow that doesn't happen as far as human rights and human rights violations in Pakistan goes. But Pathikrit Payne and Sushant Sareen, thank you so much for speaking with us here on CNN News 18. We're cutting across